5 Basics to Know Before Writing Your First Novel. Written by Clint Dawson. Narrated by Chuck Galco. Number 1. Write what you know. Welcome, my fellow imagination enthusiasts. So you've finally decided to take that all-important step of creating a beautiful, entertaining story that the whole world will read. You know you want to write a novel. Maybe this is your first attempt at writing fiction, or maybe you are ready to graduate from short stories to something more challenging. Fantastic. I remember as a young adult scribbling away story after story on notepad and computer when I finally decided to put some ideas together and began the structure of a novel. It was a daunting task. It was not for lack of excitement. When it actually came down to settling in and writing the novel, I found that I had to do some research. The problem was not my story, but how to get started on my story. The very first thing you should take into account when setting out to write your first novel is simply this: write about what you know. It seems simple enough, doesn't it? Writing about what you know is the number one surefire way to keep the creative juices flowing. Do you know anything about astrophysics? Do you know any astrophysicist or want to become one? No, neither do I. While you may have a cool character part for an astrophysicist in your novel, maybe do not use that individual as the main character. If romance is your thing, write about what you've experienced and incorporate it into your story. Personally, I have a deep love for medieval history. I grew up reading several novels on the subject. In my free time, I have read more nonfiction on the subject than would be required for a doctorate. Why? It excites me and is a subject that I'm deeply passionate about. Which leads us to the next point. If you're not passionate about what you're writing, your book is doomed to fail. You shouldn't be heading to your laptop, typewriter, notepad, whatever your preferred outlet for writing might be, and think, I have to write something today. You should want to write every day. Ideas should be steaming at the back of your mind while at school or work. You should want to rush straight home and get that paragraph that you've been thinking about since lunch down on paper. If you write about what excites you, you will find writing to be a deep, rewarding experience. Time will fly by and your masterpiece will begin to take shape seemingly on its own. No one wants to do something they dread in their free time. That is exactly what writing is: free time. Writing should be an escape from reality, not a chore. Lastly, in writing about what you know, ask yourself one very important question. Is the book you are writing something you would want to read yourself? Keep in mind that for the next 3 to 6 months, you will be writing this story. And writing again. Reading it. Writing some more. Reading it again. I speak, of course, about revision, after revision. And revision. More on that in basic number 5. You are going to be working on your story for a conceivable amount of time, and again, in your free time. Make sure you're not only passionate about what you're writing, but that it is a book you would pick up off the bookshelf and want to devote hours reading. You are setting yourself up for failure if you don't like what you're writing. Every reader has their niche and preferred genre. If you're writing a mystery novel, make sure it's a mystery novel you would dig your eye sockets into page turn by page turn.